Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the survival competition on the battlefield, where soldiers call for help. Who will lend a hand? Just as the sniper spotted Jackson's rifle, it was too late to quick realization and proof. The danger vanished, and the girl hopped back to her dad. He grumbled about his dad's superhero moment, while the kind-hearted soldier tragically became the star of battle, just not the way anyone wanted. Continuing to lead the team to regroup, one soldier, in an attempt to relax, accidentally launched a wooden panel, which crashed into the wall. A battalion of enemies suddenly appeared. Both sides grew tense, like at a forced wedding, shouting in different languages who'd lay down arms. Luckily, the comrades from the west swooped in like superheroes and defused this mini-crisis. Miller made his mission clear and finally spotted Ryan. Upon hearing the heartbreaking news of his brother's death, Ryan burst into tears instantly, like a child who had lost their cherished ice cream. But surprisingly, it turned out they only shared the same name, and he wasn't the Ryan that Miller was actually searching for. One paratrooper was from the same unit, but where they landed had a surprise visit from the Germans. While Ryan remained missing, the rendezvous point was on the After figuring out the exact location, Miller decided it was time for a little recharge with his buddies. That evening, he and Mike had a chit-chat. They discussed their friend's farewell tour, with Miller's hand shaking as he realized 94 soldiers had already said goodbye. It was a tough pill for Miller to swallow, always telling himself every soldier was worth 10 or even 20 lives. But now, his squad was compelled to put everything on the line merely to rescue one soldier, Ryan. After uttering those words, Miller's hands trembled even more vigorously, just like a kid overexcited from having consumed way too much coffee. Miller said, "Hurry and rest. We leave in 2 hours." Suddenly curious, Urban approached Miller, wanting to know who's Miller. Miller first spoke of his past salary, striking a quirky deal with Urban. Only bets over $500 would unveil his identity. Bright and early the next day, they set out for the paratrooper gathering spot, and after a few hours of marathon trekking, finally arrived at their destination. Though the scene looked like a badly designed party. Miller asked a lieutenant about Ryan's whereabouts, realizing finding him might turn into a detective. The lieutenant handed over the dog tags of all the fallen soldiers, saying flatly, if Ryan's name is on there, it means he has joined another party. Each dog tag was like a sad exit ticket. As soldiers passed by, they seemed to see their own ticket too. Miller sensed something was off about their behavior, so he dug into the crowd and started calling out Ryan's name, eventually spotting Ryan's comrade. Unfortunately, bombing impaired, the man couldn't hear well. Miller wrote Ryan's info on paper, leading to his identity being confirmed, like finding a long-lost relative. Miller immediately led the team towards slumpers, buzzing around like ants on a hot skillet. During their march, they stumbled upon an abandoned radar station. The team chose a detour, but Miller opposed strongly. Though unrelated to their mission, Miller didn't want others to become cannon fodder. So, they found a perfect attack spot and devised a battle plan. 3 teammates were charged from the front as sacrifices, while the rest flanked the sides. With everything set, Miller and 2 teammates geared up for a firepower show, while Urban quietly waited orders from behind. Using binoculars to watch his teammates, he imagined a crouching tiger, hidden dragon scenario. When teammates reached the spot and threw grenades, enemies easily tossed them back, causing constant explosions. The battle was over in minutes. Urban got worried about his friend's safety until familiar shouts rang out ahead. "We need water. Forget the medical room." Upon realizing the medic was severely injured, teammates kept tossing powder on his wounds, looking like they were conducting an experiment. But the bleeding wounds seemed to have sentenced the medic to death, as even the painkillers offered me a temporary relief. "I want to go. Mom, Mom." In the end, the medic succumbed amid desperate cries, as if he were that kitten hit by a car. The medic's death ignited a firestorm among the soldiers, and they began to vent their anger on the captured enemy, ready to execute him at once. Miller rushed to stop them, instructing the captives to dig a grave for their fallen comrade, believing death always needs company. With each lost subordinate, Miller's sorrow deepened, making his hand shake even more, looking like he was dancing. Seizing the moment when no one was around, Urban surprisingly offered a cigarette to the captive, who sensed something was off and desperately resumed. Only by doing so could he buy himself a few extra minutes. But the soldiers had already lost their composure and pulled him out. The man struggled desperately, trying to jump back into the hole to keep digging, but the sound of chambering bullets had already sealed his fate. He used every fancy meal he'd ever seen to sing praises of American culture, claiming he absolutely loved the national anthem. Desperately seeking Urban's help, he brandished his knife and insisted, "Just walk 1,000 steps, and you're alive." Miller's actions left his men baffled. If they saved him, he'd surely pick up a gun and return to the battlefield. What a puzzling logic. What on earth is this? Shouldn't the shooting range squad hush up? This is illegal, just back off with your new friend. Watching the enemy retreat into the distance, Miller pondered silently as they packed up to move on, leaving the soldiers feeling incredibly disheartened. They no longer wanted to obey Miller's orders. I once dreamt of a cheerful friend Al, knowing that the Garneau brothers would matter more than our lives, but we still hadn't found them. Do we really have? Let's hit the road. Hurry up, hurry up. Upon noticing a soldier contemplating withdrawal from the mission, the sense of urgency escalated further. But Mike pointed his gun at him, and amid the chaos, Miller calmly asked, "What are you doing?" "What are you doing now?" "I'm a professor now, having made some achievements in the academic field. We're fully prepared to head to Lambus for an academic expedition." Suddenly, tank rumbling echoed from afar. Miller quickly ordered his comrades to hide as a German armored vehicle appeared, only to be ambushed the next second. Teammates speculated allies might be nearby. As the vehicle was obliterated, a fierce gunfight erupted. Miller and the others opened fire on the Germans, and once all the enemies were neutralized, Miller found allies nearby, feeling like he had reunited with all. The old man with the rocket launcher was indeed the Ryan they were after. Miller finally conveyed their purpose, as if he had finally found a long-lost family member.